Alright, so yesterday I did 2.5 miles into Dalton, Massachusetts, and went to the Shamrock Inn, and they were full in occupancy, and I was surprised because everyone that worked there and everyone that was staying there, they were all extremely helpful in helping me get rest and what I needed. So one lady named Tina, she helped me get my laundry started, and the manager was nice enough to let me use coins for laundry, so I didn't have to pay. And then they got a blanket for Bandit to lay on, and a fella named James let me take a shower in his room there. Then Tina gave me a ride into town where I got a room at the Quality Inn, which would have been like a 3-mile walk. And then she let me go to Walmart. And while I was gone, we left Bandit back at the Shamrock Inn. And another person was nice enough to watch Bandit there. And everyone was kind of working together to make sure we were squared away, even when it wasn't conducive to their business. And that's such a contrast to what I had encountered in the last town, Great Barrington, where people were trying to exploit the hikers, criminalize them, and pressure them into paying them more money. The people here in the town of Dalton were very understanding of the hiking community. And you can make the argument that they were just more hiker savvy because the trail goes right through the town, where Great Barrington was 3 miles out of town. But sometimes communities are just stronger together, and they have nicer dispositions towards people who are in a challenging position. You know, we're walking in down High Street in Dalton, Massachusetts, and it's a beautiful little town. It's a nice little neighborhood, and the trail's on a nice sidewalk now, but in a few miles I'm going to start climbing. In about 10 miles there's going to be a big climb up out of Cheshire, Massachusetts, another little local trail town, and from there you start ascending the ridges and the inclines of Mount Greylock, which is the big climb out of Massachusetts. It's I've been hearing about it for a long time, and apparently it's a very difficult climb. It looks like the elevation change starts out of town, and then it stretches and peaks after about 8 miles. I'm going to do half of the ascent today and hopefully crash 13 miles from here in a shelter, and then finish my climb and descend tomorrow. But Mount Greylock, I've heard, is a very challenging climb. It's that final push before you get out of Massachusetts and into Vermont. But I was able to get in contact with Osprey about my pack, and Solomon about my shoes. So hopefully before I get into New Hampshire, as I'm going through Vermont, I'll be having some replaceable parts for my pack and a new pair of shoes waiting. But yeah, I'm still going with the old shoes and the roughed up pack, and looks like I'm gonna have to cross over Mount Greylock like that. Hey Bandit, you want some ice cream? Hey, you want some ice cream? Do you want some ice cream? Do you want some ice cream? Let me just taste test it for you, just in case it's poison. Poison. Okay, here you go. Look what I got. Whoa. Gosh. These tadpoles are growing their frog legs. We're nearing the summit of Mount Greylock. That's the memorial tower there. Let's go check it out.
Good, how are you? Good.
Trying some chicken of the woods, which is a fungus that grows out here. It's a mushroom.
At least you have a dog that carries something.
Pretty good.
His own food.
Yeah.
We're coming down from Mount Greylock and Mount Williams. Mount Greylock is the highest point in Massachusetts, and it's a popular ski area. Their winters are extremely cold with a lot of snow, and rival the type of weather you get in the Arctic. And only sub-alpine species can thrive there. I was hearing a few rain droplets trying to get off the mountain and into town. But it's been cold even today. It's August 13th and it's chilly. It feels like early October from where I'm from back home. This is wintergreen, and they're really low to the ground type plant. The leaves look a little bit waxy, and if you break it, you can smell the wintergreen. You can put them in your mouth for a minty freshness, or you can make wintergreen tea with it. Okay. I've done about 16 miles today. I'm a little bit behind schedule. I was wanting to do about 17 to 17 and a half miles on average each day, and I'm going to be 16 and a half today. I was 13 yesterday. The day before that I was 2.5 when I went into town. I'm trying to finish by September 15th. And every time I set a deadline for myself, I get my butt kicked. I went up over Mount Greylock today, which was the highest point in Massachusetts, and I crossed over into Vermont. And I'm on the Vermont Long Trail for the next 105 miles. The Vermont Long Trail, it kind of coincides with the Appalachian Trail for a while. But I'm exhausted. Every day I try to get up. I try to wake up, and I try to do these miles, and I try to stay on pace, and I try to finish some kind of goal. And it seems like with timing and everything else in my life, I've always been early for things. I don't get late to work a lot, you know. I always find a way to be somewhere on time. When I start a project, it's like I always finish it at a certain time. But I have no control over time and circumstance out here. And I hate it. It's so frustrating and nerve-wracking, because it's like, if I can't time 17 miles in a day, every day, then how am I going to have any kind of control of finishing this trail? Not only when I want to, but before it's too late. They close October 15th, and that's not too much longer. You know, the weather's going to get weird. Other people are going to finish. I'm just tired. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. And I can safely say that now. I can admit that. With just 3 states left. New Hampshire being one of them, Maine being another. I could say, as of date, since I started, this is the hardest thing I've ever undertaken in my life. And the hardest is still yet to come. How do you have any kind of agenda, any kind of feeling of order and balance when you finally crawl out of the frying pan to drop off into the fire? I know it sounds kind of cheesy. I know I'm not the first person to use that phrase, but it's appropriate. I've been cooking for a long time. My feet have been cooking. You know, my back, my mental stability, it's all been cooking. And it's about to get hotter. Not in the literal temperature, but it's going to get harder. Big climbs every day, up and over steep rocks. Vast wilderness. Few places to resupply. And unpredictable weather conditions. Storms and cold. It's all haunting me every day I wake up. And all I can do is start walking. And hope that I get a certain amount of miles in before I'm too tired to go any further. I have to sleep. I better hurry up and get to the closest shelter. I don't feel like night hiking tonight. "1,600 miles. Booyah! Booyah." So a few minutes ago I come out to a major road outside of the Green Mountain National Forest in Vermont. And I run into Miss Janet. Miss Janet, she knew we were there, you know, she knew we were hikers. I met her before. Last time I saw her was in Damascus, around 400 miles in the trail. It's been over 1,000 miles since I've seen her last. And she gave me a soda, just was asking how me and Bandit were holding up, and I didn't have much to say. I said my gear was running ragged and kind of was going through a little bit of an emotional funk every now and then. And I was trying to tell her that we were trying to finish by September 15th. And yeah, it's definitely a stress, it's definitely a strain. An average of over 17 miles every day to the end, including time in New Hampshire. And you know, she said, well, you gotta take time. You know, you're resting your body's one thing, but you have to get rest in your mind. Your mental state has to be as healthy as your body. And you have to take a good break by a stream and enjoy it, or up on a mountain and enjoy it, because you need that mental health just as much as you do the physical health. And you know, she was telling me it's alright to get down, to feel low at times, because what we're doing out here is hard. And I don't know, it was good to see somebody supportive. She's been doing this a long time now. She used to have a hostel, and now she is just a trail angel, driving up and down and making sure everybody's enjoying their hike. But she told me, she's like, you know, there are tons of people sitting at home in the dark of a room wishing they were where you are right now. And I don't remember often enough that I'm out here living a dream. Living a dream that not everyone can find the time or the finances for. The financial security. You know, some people, they don't have the money, other people don't have the time. And I'm out here doing it. With less than 600 miles left, and with 1,600 miles behind me. I'm out here. And I'm healthy. And I'm going to take Miss Janet's advice. Sit down and think about that. And enjoy it. Enjoy that I'm alive and I'm living this life. With my buddy. With Bandit. The miles will come when I need them to. The miles will come. So, I was talking to Miss Janet earlier, and she was asking when I expected to finish. I told her I was trying to meet my ride at Katahdin on September 15th. And she said, well, you'll probably finish around October 1st. And she said, at an average pace, it's a week from this specific mountain that she named. And she said, and from that point, most hikers are about a month from Katahdin. So today is August 15th. And she said, so you're about 5 weeks away. And so we're about a week from this mountain that Miss Janet said. We're about a month from Katahdin once reaching that point. So she said about 5 weeks. And it's August 15th, so somewhere in between September 15th and October 1st. Now the family is planning on September 29th. But she said you get into the portion of the trail where you can't plan things out. I don't know if I'm going to have some kind of hidden advantage in the whites. Seems like most people are slowed down and have it difficult. And to expect that I'm going to fly over the most difficult part of the trail where others have to slow down, that's unrealistic. But maybe I could push 1 or 2 more miles on average going through the whites where others can't. Because one thing that I have is endurance. I'm not very fast, but I can keep going. At the end of the day, to the last bit of sunlight is gone. And maybe that endurance is what will carry me a little bit farther in the whites each day. And maybe my ability as a previous rock climber, novice rock climber, but still rock climber, will give me an advantage at finding footholds and getting up the mountain faster. I don't really know. I don't know what to expect. But Miss Janet is a pretty reliable source. She's on a hostel. She's a trail angel. She hears countless people and their attempts and their successes and their failures every year. So she says 5 weeks. And it's probably 5 weeks. But regardless of when I finish, if it's somewhere around 5 weeks, give or take a week, I've only got 5 weeks. I'm getting close to finishing. I mean, I've been out for like 13 or 14 weeks on this trip. And I've got a third of that left. I've come 1,600 miles. I have less than 600 left. That looks like a cakewalk. But again, I haven't seen the whites yet. I haven't seen Maine yet. But I gotta keep going. And just know that I'm getting there. I'm getting closer to the end. August 15th, 2015. I come across a sign in the forest that says, "We are watching you." At first I thought it was a joke, and then further up the hill there's another sign. It says, "We have been watching you for a long time." I don't know what any of this means. I'm looking around, I see no eyes. I see no forms, no shadows among the rocks and the trees. I will continue to walk. I will make another entry if I find more. This perplexing mystery. I don't know what any of this means, but I found another sign. A third sign. Claiming that they know my secret. What could this mean? What could they be inferring? Do they know anything about my life? Is this... None of this makes any sense. Clearly someone's trying to make a jest, trying to get into my psyche. This is not a game. Not to me. I see you sleeping. What's this? My 2014 holiday playbook. Your holiday. How did they know? How did they know I had one of these last year? You drive by your work every day. Wait a minute. I don't have a job. Gang teenagers ruining this country.